Okay, so in keeping with my random thoughts series of videos, I also have a whole bunch of notebooks here, and I've been going through those because randomly in the pages of some of these, and some are just dedicated notebooks, I have all kinds of stuff written. So I opened this one up and I saw something, and I thought, this is interesting and it's relevant to society today. And it's dated February 1st, 2018. And it says, in an attempt to describe the macromanifestations of the anima and animus, I have come to reduce it to a reciprocal and enantiodramatic relationship. The animus contains the conventions of the father, which the woman then projects as an expectation on society. Through this projection, a woman seeks to impart the lessons of this archetype upon society. The man, conversely, moves through society in an effort to find the ideals of his mother within his society, projecting his corrected moral failures. In other words, the man operates through taking, while the woman operates through providing. The man seeks and the woman provides. To the woman, the world needs corrected, and to the man, the incorrect world needs discarded. Now, I don't still subscribe to these beliefs exactly as they were written here 7 years ago, but I think it's really relevant and apposite to have this discussion because of today and where we are in American society. Things are incredibly divided, and people don't seem to have the capacity to update their beliefs in the same way that they used to. And I think this relationship that entry pointed to is the reason why. People can't update their beliefs because they're not consciously attending to them. What has happened in society today, to some extent, is a result of years of teaching women how to fulfill the roles of both women and men classically, and men only to fulfill the roles of men. That means that there is a certain amount of butting heads in the household when it comes to the execution of the masculine role. Now, what happens when two people try to fulfill the same role at the same time? Well, whatever role you're inhabiting, right, which is really kind of built on the imago of your mother or father, you project unconsciously the imago of the other. So if I'm acting in a masculine role, then I'm going to unconsciously project the feminine onto my partner. I'm going to unconsciously project the feminine onto the world at large outside of me, because I'm consciously attending to the masculine. And when I say masculine and feminine, I mean in a very basic way, a fundamental difference in describing the aspects of perception. And so in the feminine side, we would say that's the observing, the receiving, the side that in which things are born and birthed. And in the masculine side, it's the creative, active, and engaged, imposing side, right? And we can think about this if you think about yin and yang, if you want a structure for this. But really, it's not going to be a simple structure. There is the simple structure underneath, but on top of that are all of the contents of your experiences with the individuals in your life who have modeled masculine and feminine roles for you. Now, in society, we've taught women how to be men, and we've taught men just how to be men. So now we have both the man and the woman coming together in a household and attempting to take the same place, which means that they're both then unconsciously projecting the feminine onto the other. Now, the problem with this is because both are acting in an active masculine role, there's discordance between the feminine projections on the other. And that creates a certain amount of frustration and dissonance in the individual attempting to act from their conscious frame. They don't realize that this is unconscious, but they start to take the frustration and the complexes built around the contents of the feminine archetype in their mind, and they start to project that onto the other. And if both are taking the opposite role, let's say you have children and you're both attempting to be mothering at the same time, you're both fulfilling the feminine role, being nurturing, whatnot, then you're going to project the masculine complexes onto the other. Now, when you're doing this, you're not aware that you're just seeing yourself reflected. And you will attempt to modify the other. The other won't actually hear you and your requests for modification. Neither one of you will. Because it's always coming back in the context of their complex. They don't see you. They see their own unresolved frustrations that produced a congruent feeling in themselves with the archetype that they're unconsciously projecting. So if somebody had frustrations with their mother, and let's say two partners, they're both frustrated with their mothers in some ways, because we all are, that's just how life goes, and they're both attempting to take the masculine role in their home. And let's say that their mother and father took the general gender roles assigned to them, and that the one who was female sex was also the feminine, and the one who was male sex was also the masculine one. Then what ends up happening is, while both are acting out consciously the masculine role in the household, both are unconsciously projecting onto the other the feminine role in the household, and then becoming more and more frustrated because they're not fulfilling that role. That frustration is then filtered through the context of the complex, and they start to think that whatever the shadow side of that imago they had of their mother is what's at work here. It feels like the resurrection of the betrayal of the mother for both people in the other, if they're both occupying the same role consciously. Now, because we as a society have done this with women and men, we have both men and women attempting to take the lead, and by this I mean the masculine role in society, and both of them are running into their projections on the other side. That's why people who are more progressive can't see the wisdom in the conservative side, and why people in the conservative side can't see the wisdom in the progressive side, because each one is just seeing the other as having failed in their duty, not recognizing that they've projected the context of the duty that they expect them to fulfill onto them, and that it's not actually a conscious, updated model of anything, but actually just a container of all of their unresolved mud, crap, that they haven't dealt with. And so, as each side becomes more frustrated, they project onto the other side more and more of their own unresolved garbage, and start to try to act out the resolution of problems that they had with either the masculine or feminine in their own homes that were left unresolved and lingering in their unconscious. Neither side is seeing the other side. Neither side can see the other side. And I don't claim to say that women shouldn't take an active role in society. I just make the claim that insofar as we do train women to be able to do the masculine and feminine, we also have to train men to do the masculine and the feminine, because then they can consciously inhabit both worlds and they don't run into each other leaving this big unoccupied territory, which they fill with their projections. So there's going to be a genuine unification that brings everybody into a higher state of consciousness, which allows us to really rapidly evolve our consciousness in society, or there's going to be a precipitous conflict. And we get to decide insofar as we can bring the unconscious and make it conscious. Insofar as we can shine light into the dark spots of ourselves and see what unresolved crap we have inside of us that we're projecting onto the other. Right? And so much of this is you have the conservative sides projecting onto the progressive side the unresolved complaints they had with their mother, right? The nurturing that wasn't done for them, they will have a problem with seeing done for others in society outside of them. And then you see with the progressive side that they're constantly in conflict with the shadow side of the masculine leader in their household, their father, or whoever fulfilled the masculine role. And they project that all over the conservatives, and they say they're abusing authority, that they're dictators, and that their intention is to make people small and obedient. Which is, again, I 100% believe, unresolved conflict between them and whoever took the masculine role in their household, or in their schools, or their churches, or community groups, or friends groups. Doesn't matter. Right? You run into the masculine and feminine everywhere. So we really got to figure this out. We got to straighten out what we've got consciously handled and managed, and what we're lying to ourselves about. Because it's a lot more than most people think. And we're coming to the edge of the cliff, and we're either going to fly or fall. So I'm probably going to make more videos about this in the future. And I'm going to take some time to articulate my thoughts, because I think that was probably a little confusing for you folks. But I really hope that you think about that, and that it helps to make sense of what's going on in the world, and why there's so much strong emotion that comes up. And one last thing I'd like to say is, too, even if you get what you want from the other side, you won't see it. You won't accept it. Because they can never resolve your unresolved crap in your personal relationships that lingers in your unconscious. That will still be there. And no amount of placating from the other side will ever give you what you want. It will make you an authoritarian and a dictator. It'll make you ruthless, because you'll demand they give more and more and more, because you still feel empty, because they can't fill it for you. So both sides have an incredible potential to go into a terrible place if we continue down the same road we've gone down. So I'm going to stop getting all doom and gloom. I hope you guys have a good day. Take care.